Hello, I hope all is progressing well. Welcome to I Don't Know, We Can Talk About It, where we discuss myriads of topics civilly, reasonably, and responsibly. My name is Kevin Dufresne. Our first topic is with regard to how beneficial pre-K may actually be considering education long term. What factors might be worth considering between pre-K and family care. And I think one may find the educational system does not only rely on itself. The personalities of the individuals in these systems are extremely important to recognize. So individuals may better comprehend how to navigate what may be happening with a particular teacher, a particular classroom environment, an educational environment at large, if there are extracurriculars that are beneficial for an individual's growth, if an individual may be feeling that growth may be different from one educational environment to another. There are many factors to consider. The article mentions familial, more so a familiar networking being a factor to address, which may be a benefit to individuals, which brings one to a different reality that individuals may have different relations at home, even if a sibling picks up another sibling from an educational environment. It doesn't mean the relationship is exactly supportive. So the extent of how assessments may be for observing whether one type of educational environment is better than another, supportive of long-term dimensions, ties in with many, many factors that are of integral core portions of the conversations revolving around whether one form of learning is better than another form of learning. Now, what one may consider is the different support systems, which the article touches on. The capacity of support systems refers to the structuring of an educational environment. So when bringing about the concept of a support system, I'm not just referring to a support system that is set with supports by public funds in a structure of an educational environment that may have certain types of classrooms and certain facilities. I'm more so referring to structuring of curriculum, structuring of teaching methods, structuring of parameters of learning within environments, because one may find a family care system may offer valuable learning parameters with wonderful structure, and individuals may grow through these learning capacities with long-term benefits that are easy to reference. Whereas an individual that may be in a pre-K may not have the same structure and may actually find challenges long-term. How one considers long-term may vary because individuals are to be responsible self-learners, though prior to adulthood, the learning capacities may receive great support from parents, guardians, the environments of which are available, accessible to the individual, especially of everyday life. So when considering the structures, the importance of modern technology and modern behaviors potentially is extremely important to acknowledge, are extremely important to acknowledge, because individuals may feel experiences from a time when, though may not be able to exact upon them. Whereas there are individuals that may be able to exact upon an experience with clarity, details of pre-K. And the individuals may be decades beyond pre-K, decades beyond elementary school, and have wonderful memories. So the idea of the learning being impactful of long term entwines with many different elements of learning which involve a person characteristically. The learning parameters of an educational environment may be very contributive, though if any individual may not even remember what might be happening a day before, a week before, 2 weeks before, a month before, a year before, and individuals are trying to assess whether the individual is experiencing any long-term effect from education, one may have to regard as the individual engaging with any other medium of learning, any medium of technology that may be affecting the individual, engaging in any dimensions of life that may be affecting how an individual regards experience. It is critical to recognize the many factors that may be affecting the assessments, individuals' learning experiences, individuals' lives experience. And when observing these, it is very important to recognize how to implement a measuring system which involves these dimensions, as well as recognizing what critically might be important, what might be a sudden situation that happens that may affect one's learning at a particular time. There are many ways to observe the impacts of education. Now, one may recognize if one is receiving evidence by word from an individual with a follow-up of how the individual feels pre-K has been beneficial, and the individual reflecting on pre-K or family care in a particular way that shows great resonance with long-term effects, these details may be very, very impactful, especially when considering a particular line through. For example, if an individual says, learning in an environment that has so many different people, and the lesson of creating houses with individuals of different cultures in a culture that no one is from really stands out to me from pre-K, because of having to learn how to communicate with people about a different topic through a different language that all of us are foreign to. Then there is great evidence to show that impact of the experience is present and carrying forward, especially when an individual acknowledges that presently or throughout life from that point, that experience is impactful in so many ways. So having such evidence greatly shows what impact may be versus an individual that might not remember anything about pre-K beyond the name, beyond having certificates to remind the individual of a particular location. Our next topic is with regard to what educational environments may benefit from. When looking at how systems are operating within an educational environment, how an educational environment may improve, how an educational environment may have many different strategies, many different practices, many different ways to approach what may be beneficial for an educational environment, the approaches are important to address. The articles discussing what may be affecting individuals in an educational environment, where might there be bottlenecking, where might there be matters of belief that need addressing, where might there be matters of disconnecting professionalism, which is a form of professionalism which regards one's position so much so that no other position's feedback seems relevant, though maybe most pertinent and exactly what is necessary to ensure appropriate growth. And the disconnect comes from when the planning happens. So if there are individuals that are planning for an education environment to be a particular way, then just looking to spring everything on educators coming into the door without any feedback, without any input, because of not respecting everyone as a great pathway of feedback, then one may find educational environments may not operate so smoothly. Whereas there are many ways to address what may be functionally sound with good progress. There are areas of evidence showing that systems are effective in different realms, and context is important, and addressing the systems of progress need to really be in connection with the student body, with the learning growth, the parameters of which will be beneficial for an educational environment constituents long term, which is of course to be catering to the students' learning. And the reality is the connecting of communication and ensuring that individuals are present to be with the growth parameters, where the professional development may not be only a part of planning, though a planning structure in connection with the broader planning, not the part of planning that only is of aligning a schedule for a year. To note that it's important to be able to teach how to operate with certain programs. And the implementations of what may be effective require particular analysis, require addressing environments particularly. So one may find that one educational environment may have wonderful elements at work, though the reality is the educational environment that is observing needs to observe internally as well, comparatively, to know what differences are available. Now, the point in recognizing these dimensions is also to recognize that when individuals are entering planning phases, that here are some areas, some techniques that may be beneficial to acknowledge. If it works, good. If it's just something to consider, good. If there needs to be a different way to address the situation, good. And this brings about a communal development of education, where educational environments may partner to address whether a strategy might come from a different educational environment. Consider a school of high needs. A different educational environment may have individuals that are able to contribute feedback that may benefit the educational environment of high needs, that may greatly benefit from receiving the feedback. And the broader community of education brings about what may be valuable to ensuring the utmost positive growth for educational environments within the particular context, as well as in connection communally, even with the competitive dimensions that exist. It is important to recognize ultimately the feedback brings about opportunity to address what futures of education may proceed to be. All right. Time for some origami. What we're going to do here now is we're going to actually take this origami sheet and just fold it. It doesn't have to be perfect. And from here, we're actually going to just fold one side the long way. Just going to fold it down right here. And then we'll fold the other side. We'll fold that one up this time. Okay. And next what we're going to do is we're actually going to take the fold, we're just going to bring it in as such. We're just going to fold it down here so it's at a nice base. And we're going to fold up the wing, so the points here, not the actual wing of this airplane, but the wing in terms of our extending portion. Okay. Next, we're just going to fold down about this top point to the center point. Just going to fold it down so it's like about halfway. Next, we're going to fold this portion so that our recent fold is on the outside. And we're going to just fold down. Now, you fold it beyond, like about halfway. But one way to look at it is you get this point here to this tip, then that's a good measure. So again, that point from that fold here, just take that point, it's right here, just fold it down, and then we'll find ourselves with a nice balance. Fold. Next, we'll have to get the wings with a panel tip. So for this, just find a nice halfway point and just fold up. So that is like a nice little halfway point. And then from here, we have our plane. Alrighty, you can give it a test drive if you like. I champion reading physical books. When an individual reads a physical book, there are a lot of health benefits. One of which is the brain physically changes when an individual reads a physical book. Discussing sex education for teenagers is so valuable because when observing how learning may be beneficial with regard to health, with regard to sexual education, in ways that are healthfully aligning, individuals may find great benefit to being more aware of how to approach the dimensions of the parameters of sex. When the text engages with the different social areas of which teenagers, more than teenagers, individuals in general, especially individuals that use different mediums of communication, whether that be online or through cell phone technology, one may regard how to communicate, even considering if one uses letters through the mail, how one may be able to connect with dating, with relating, with proceeding with awareness of how one may feel, what being consensual means, and how one may always be learning, so one may not have any feeling of rushing into any situation that may be conflicting for an individual. So one may understand how to set boundaries. So one may be willing to communicate in ways that are respectful and also alleviating. The text is offering a great avenue for individuals to reflect. And I think the text is a great book for individuals to read with a parent or a guardian, with someone the person feels is responsible, respectful, and trustworthy. And I think the text can be a really great guide for teenagers to walk with. And realistically, the context of the text branch beyond being a teenager. These relational dynamics are relevant for individuals that are really just engaging with these dimensions of the sexual realm, of the relational realm, for a first experiential time or an earlier experiential time. For individuals that may not have the awareness, the text is offering pathways so individuals may be more aware and really engaging with how to approach these dimensions without shame, without fear, though with an open mind to what is healthfully beneficial and worth considering. And the reflective portions are so individuals are able to better self-examine, especially considering one needs to be aware of one's own health before engaging with anyone else's health, and that one may benefit from growing in ways that assist one with becoming more aware of aspects of human spectrums. Thank you for joining. I don't know. We can talk about it. Onward and Upward, Kevin Dufresne.